And we are live. So, Jeremy,
Welcome everybody to this very new concept that we have. This is what we're going to call All-Star Wrestling Debates. For a little backstory of how this all started, last Sunday, as probably everybody knows, we had our WWE TLC pay-per-view, and on the Facebook chat, we kind of got into a pretty heated discussion after the show. There was a lot of opinions thrown out. You know, some people agreed with them, some people didn't. And as I was working on Monday, I got this idea. I know we were so passionate about that debate. Why don't we just make a game show out of it? So here we are. Fast forward 5 days later, here we are going to try this out. We got a lot of great debate questions here, such as who's the greatest wrestler of all time? What babyface would be better off as a heel? What heel would be better off as a babyface? And the be-all, end-all, kind of the question that started this whole concept, what was the most disappointing match of the TLC pay-per-view? But without further ado, let's go to our contestants. First off, from Canada, the former WTS World Champion. I can't recall who actually beat you. The name escapes me at the moment. But
one person.
Your friend and mine, the Canadian Nightmare, Mark Boric. Mark, when this idea was thrown out, you were immediately interested. So what's your mindset going in this match?
I'm a little weary. We're starting a new concept here. I used to love get into wrestling debates with my friends and all that, and but lately it's just I've been having that hunger to come back, and I'm just eager to try this format out, and hopefully it can be a success.
I certainly hope so too. But one man here is trying to make sure that you start out 0-1, and he hails from the beautiful, lovely country of New Zealand. Always wanted to go there. Heard it's very beautiful. We have the Crusher, not that Crusher, not Rachel, the other Crusher, Mr. Malcolm Lay. So, Malcolm, this is right now on Mark's channel. He's got the home field advantage. How do you think you're going to overcome this right now? Defeat the Canadian Nightmare?
It's just going to be a case of just trying my best and outplay him. Like, I don't have a lot of friends that I can have wrestling debates with, so this will probably be the first sort of time I've actually got into a heavy wrestling debate of any sort. So
I hear you there. Okay, first off, you already know me. I'm the main judge, but also joining us, we also have the villain, Haven. Originally, this was supposed to be Haven and Hunter, but I guess NWO and Corporation realized that they can't work out anything. So I guess the Corporation decided no show. So, Haven, now that you got Hunter gone, what's your mindset knowing that you can give a completely unbiased opinion judging this match?
Oh, I can. You know, these guys are both good guys, and I don't come in the gate with any malice intent. I hope the format works, and I want to see the viewpoints they have and the different perspectives they have when they come to their decisions on talking about wrestling, subject we all love. That's why we're here.
I hear you on that. And also joining us, jumped in last minute, was happy to join in. Our other judge, we have Warren Freeman Jr.
There you go.
Hello.
Hey, Warren.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And basically at the end, just judging on passion and facts, and we'll go by majority decision. Normally, as the main host in most of these other debates, normally the main host would have the final say, but that's not how it's going to work here. This is going to come down to majority vote. If I think somebody has the better argument, but Warren and Haven think otherwise, well, then the point will go to the person with the majority vote. Basically, it's first to 5, 4 regular round questions, speed round, minimum 1 speed round question. And the first person to 5 will be the winner of this wrestling debate. So without further ado, let's not waste any more time. So round 1 is kind of the question of all questions. This is the question that has been talked about since the cavemen of 10,000 BC, which, by the way, was a horrible movie, I might add. Damn you, Roland Emmerich. It's guys, flat out, pure and simple. Who is the best wrestler of all time? So without further ado, let's start with Malcolm. Who is the greatest wrestler of all time?
For this, I had to pick The Rock because like he's just been so out there, and like he's headlined a lot of like 5 WrestleManias, and has also competed in 6 others. And yeah.
All right, so we got Malcolm with The Rock, with the Great One. Gonna be kind of hard to argue that one, but Mark, who do you have to go up against the Great One as the greatest wrestler of all time?
Unfortunately, with The Rock, he was only around for 5 full years, 96 through 2001. My wrestler is who other than the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Woo! He's been around since 75. He survived a plane crash. At the beginning of his career, that should have ended his career. After that, he killed the 80s. He killed the 90s. He still wrestled through 2010. He's had multiple 5-star matches. He's been voted Wrestler of the Year from Dave Meltzer and the readers of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, one of the most respected wrestling newsletters out there. He's had awesome matches. He's been the top guy. He's been from the 80s through the 90s. He's probably the best technical wrestler out there at the moment there's ever been, without a doubt. And also, 16-time, the credited 16-time world champion. In reality, he's held like 25 different world champions of all the major brands. He was the top star in WCW, top star NWA, Mid-Atlantic, even the WWF. He was when he was managing the 4 Horsemen or the Evolution. He was always the main focus. Need I go on? Is that the end of round 2? We're part 1.
Yep. Yeah, I guess you don't need to say any more. That's
No.
pretty hard to argue there. But
Yeah,
so basically, now let's get to the second period. Each of you will get 3 allotted minutes to make your case, continue to boast your pick, attack your opponent's pick, rebut anything that was said in the opening argument. We're going to start with Malcolm. When you start talking, your 3 minutes will begin.
Well, I admit it's going to be hard to argue against Ric Flair. But going to start with, The Rock is a lot of his catchphrases are highly quotable. It's from his catchphrase "Slay of SmackDown." That's how they got the name for SmackDown. It's also been included in the dictionaries. And he also holds the record for most war shows main evented in 1 year, which was 38 in 2000.
Okay. With a couple of your points there when it comes to The Rock. The Rock has, without a doubt, he's got his very memorable catchphrases. Well, Ric Flair does too. Limousine riding, kiss stealing, woo, son of a gun. Ric Flair's got just as many memorable catchphrases as he does. And when it comes to the pay-per-views, The Rock, of course, he's main evented a lot of them, because in the 96 through 92 2001 is when they really started running monthly pay-per-views, and 98 through 99 through 2000, he was the top star in the WWF at the time. So yes, he main evented all those pay-per-views. And unfortunately for Ric Flair, it's just like he started in a time period where pay-per-views didn't really happen until 1983, and at that time there was only 2 or 3 at most a year. So, as the main, he was the reason the Mid-Atlantic was successful. Him and could also throw in the 4 Horsemen, but he was the main reason for that. He's had awesome matches with Rick Steamboat. Just to name off a couple of the 5-star matches that Dave Meltzer, probably like the most respected wrestling journalist out there. 5-star match in '86, Barry Windham. Another one with the Crockett Cup in '87, Ricky Steamboat's Chi-Town Rumble. That match was absolutely fantastic. This is the guy that can have a 5-star match with a broomstick. He was a reason why the War Games was a 5-star match in '91, and also '87. Best heel, best interview, feuds of the year with the Terry Funk I Quit match. It's an I Quit match, and it was 5 stars. A lot of that was due to Ric Flair. Ric Flair carries the company. He is known as, to be the man, you have to beat the man. Like the 4 Horsemen. Evolution with their TNA, like he was the reason a lot of people were watching TNA when he was in there. Definitely wasn't for the storylines.
Yeah, well, the thing about TNA is was that Ric Flair broke his vow to never wrestle again, just to go to TNA. I mean, it's like, and I mean, I'm not saying it should tarnish him as the way it is, but I mean, like when the Rock left wrestling, he to do the movies and that, like he always, like when he came back, like his comeback, it was the most highest rated segment ever in that year, and like. I mean, The Rock has won a lot of different titles himself, and I mean, like his finishing moves, like, are quite often repeated by different wrestlers, and yeah.
When it comes to the finishing move, yes. His finishing moves aren't really copied in wrestling that much. Granted, Ric Flair took the figure 4 from Buddy Roberts, but he made that move extremely famous, and it is definitely one of the most copied moves. And if you ever watch The Miz, extremely hard move to do. If you ever seen him try to perform it.
All right. Mark's 3 minutes have expired. Malcolm, you have 58 seconds remaining. You can now use what's left of your 58 seconds to counter anything that Mark has said.
Right, so, I mean, like, Ric Flair has, he's had a lot of great moments, but I mean, like, in my argument that is why The Rock should be considered the greatest is he was propelled up there. Like, I know, yes, his career's been a lot shorter than Flair's, but I mean, in that short time, he got himself up to title shot very quickly. And it's like, yeah, and I mean, like, Ric Flair is, like, a lot of The Rock's matches have been consistently up there for match of the year quite often.
And period 2, I take it.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Both of your 3 minutes have now expired. Now we'll go to the interesting part of this. We're going to do a 1 minute free for all. Is you guys are just going to go back and forth right now at the same time. Just shoot down any arguments that you have against each other. Try to be the most vocal anytime. So make sure you get your points out, but at the same time, try to listen to anything that they say. so you can rebut anything at any given time. Your 1 minute will begin as soon as the first person starts talking.
When it comes to The Rock's, especially his longevity and his 5-year period in the WWF, for most of it, he wasn't even the top guy. He was never considered the top guy until 99. And before that, like even 99, he was still behind Austin. 2000 was his peak year, and he was in contention with Triple H. He wasn't even the best. He wasn't even considered the single top guy of that period.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is but like Ric Flair's been up. Yeah, Ric Flair's been great. So I mean, The Rock is like a lot of the wrestlers consider him one of the big superstar, big draws.
When it comes to that, everyone considers Ric Flair the greatest. Everyone.
All right, that's going to do it. 1 minute free-for-all is expired. So that was an interesting back and forth debate. Both of you brought some good arguments to the table. Let's start with Haven. What stuck out when it comes to both arguments?
Mark had a lot of good points with Ric Flair. That was an easy answer to give. The Rock, I mean, he was a good wrestler. I just think that I don't know if Malcolm was going with his personal favorite instead of picking somebody that like had more stats in their arsenal. So Mark just had way more facts, so I have to give it to Mark.
As far as who I think The Rock personally is better, but I think Mark had an argument when it comes to Ric Flair. I mean, Ric Flair deserves his own wing in the Hall of Fame for all of his accomplishments he has. Ric Flair has achieved more distance than The Rock has, and I think Mark did a great job of illustrating that point.
All right, so both Haven and Warren agreed that Mark won the argument, so it doesn't matter what I think. Mark gets the first point with Ric Flair, so it is 1-0 in the advantage of Mark. But Malcolm, don't worry, have a chance to come back with round 2. This is another one that's pretty interesting, to say the least. We all know that there are a bunch of characters out there that are great good guys and great bad guys, but sometimes they're just characters that don't hit it off in one facet or another. There are a lot of bad guys out there that just don't come at all. So the question right now is, what current heel would be better off as a babyface? Since Malcolm started off round 1, we will start with Mark to begin round 2. So who is your pick for heel that's better off as a babyface?
Okay, my pick is probably one of my personal favorites. I've been watching this guy since his Montreal indie days, and that is, of course, formerly known as Cesaro El Generico, Sami Zayn. This guy, you've heard of Ricky Steamboat. Like, he's one of the guys you never turn him heel. He's a lifelong babyface. Guess what? Sami Zayn is a lifelong babyface. This is a guy that is over the last 12 years since he's been a baby face, and he's been one of the most popular baby faces in wrestling, including WWE. Like everywhere. This guy is without a doubt, like you see him, you want to get behind him, you want to root for him, you want to cheer him on, you want to see him win. He doesn't always win. He does make a good underdog babyface, but you always get behind him. He has awesome matches. Ole. And his theme is, when he was on the Indies, his theme was just instinctively quotable. You were chanting along, you were singing along to it, And on the in WWE, his ska theme, it just you hear it, you just get behind him. He is a guy that is a lifelong babyface, and he definitely should not be a heel.
All right. Strong facts there from Mark picking the fellow Canadian Sami Zayn. We'll see who Malcolm brings to the table. Who do you think is a heel that's better off as a babyface?
I picked the modern day Maharaja Jinder Mahal, because I mean, what it's one of those things that, like, with him as a heel, he does get a chance to sort of, because he's not really Indian, but it's one of those ones that, like, and with his accent he does, it's verging on clearly fake. It's like, and I mean, they could have used him to be a good guy and get that Indian fan base more interested in it. I mean, I know the Indian fan base, I think, is kind of into him anyway, but just because he's Indian. But I mean, they make him face, then it'll make him face. We'll get that much more.
All right. So let's start with the 3-minute warning debate period. We'll start with Mark because you went first. Your 3 minutes will begin as you start talking.
As much as I dislike the fact that he stated this, that Jinder Mahal, to get over to the Indian audience, definitely should be a babyface. I cannot disagree with that at all. The fact that he's a heel is backwards booking, in my opinion. Trying to make the rest of India, or sorry, the rest of the world think that Indians are bad people. I disagree with that. But Sami Zayn, WWE needs baby faces. They need over baby faces. They've got John Cena. John Cena's a part-timer right now, and he disappears. Other than that, you've got you got AJ. AJ's up there, and also you've got, trying to think of other baby faces or over baby faces. I can't think of any. But everyone else is a heel. All the champions are heels. You've got no one for them to go against, and you need Sami Zayn needs to be a baby face, and he needs to be a heel, which, given his opportunity, he will get himself over. But
yeah, I mean, like, I admit Sami Zayn's one of my favourite wrestlers as well. But I mean, like, and I mean, I get he's been a babyface all his career, but I mean, he's only just recently been turned heel. So I mean, like, hasn't really given a chance to show on how he can be, like, as a heel. I mean, but I mean, like, as far as I've known Jinder Mahal, he's always been a heel, and I mean, like, I know when he started, he was a jobber as well, but I mean, he still was doing heelish things then as well. But I mean, but yeah, like they need to get that Indian. Once, as I said, they need to get the Indian audience as well. And I mean, like, if just showing Indians as doing bad things is not the way to do it.
I agree. Granted, Sami Zayn has recently just turned heel, but this is a guy that needs to be a babyface. He has the crowd behind him. Without, as badly as he's been booked, he still got the crowd caring about him, which is remarkable. And with Jinder Mahal, he'll get turning him babyface. You'll get some of India. Remember, there's the 1.3 billion population that they like to promote. Like what? 0.00004% of that 1.3 billion actually care about WWE. It might not even be that high. So you'll have a really small audience that will be cheering for Jinder Mahal. Other than that, there's just there's no reason to really like him. You've never been given 3-man band is like the only remote chance, and he was a jobber, and that was just because like he was somewhat funny. But other than that, there's no reason at all to get behind Jinder Mahal, other than the fact that you're playing on the Indian stereotype, or you could even say racism, where he's Indian, so I gotta like him.
You know, I get that. I mean, it's like one of those things like whenever you turn anyone heel or face, it's going to take a while to go over for anyone. And I mean, that's the thing with Sami Zayn is like, even though he's been face all his life, I mean, like he's still finding his feet as being heel. So I mean, it's like, so I mean, he's still sort of getting there. So I mean, it's going to take a while for him to show if he can be heel. And I mean, like the way WWE goes, I mean, if the experiment doesn't work, then he'll be changed back. But I mean, like, I think everyone needs a chance to be shown what they can do as heel or face. I mean,
I've got 5 seconds left on my timer, and I'm going to use it to do this. If it doesn't work, WWE will change. Give me proof. That doesn't happen in 2017.
All right, Mark's time is up. Malcolm, you have 54 seconds left. So, hey, at least you didn't have 5 seconds.
Hey, I mean, like, I mean, if it happens, like, and he gets changed, then I mean, the proof will be there close to by the end of the year. But I mean, like, it's one of those things that, and I mean, it's not just Ginger, which quite often that can be played like either way in the racism thing. But I mean, like other people, like if Nakamura was healed, then there'll be another audience that. But anyway, like Jin Moore was one of those people that absolutely would do well at being face because
End of period 2.
End of period 2. All right, now it's time for, once again, the 1 minute free for all. So don't hesitate to just interact when somebody starts talking. You know, I noticed Malcolm in the first one, you kind of let Mark get his say in, but don't let it out. Get some cheap shots in there if you want to. So 1 minute will start when the first person speaks.
Really, I'm just focused on the fact that you scared the hell out of me with WWE might turn Nakamura heel. That scares the hell out of me. That would not be. That'll be terrible. And I could see them going very racist.
yeah, I mean, like Jinder Mahal is one of those ones I'd like to see sort of what they can do with him if they did turn him face. Because I mean, like, yeah, they can have him sort of like going and pushing him over quite a bit. It's like, I mean, they could change up his like, and what they probably should have done when they brought him back, but like even is they could change up his moveset so it's not so much.
Don't need to
heal.
The beautiful thing about Sami Zayn is you don't need to change up his moveset. It's extremely over. And time's up.
Time. All right, so that's going to do it for round 2. I think this one was pretty straightforward. I've got a clear winner here, but let's start with Warren.
Okay, I don't think it should be gender, definitely, because if you turn gender heel, you get the Alberto Del Rio effect. Like, he'll just become stale. More stale than he already is as a heel. The whole Horner gimmick as a heel is overdone, so...
Yeah, for me, I think the moment that Mark admitted right off the gate in the 3-minute debate that he realized that it was kind of a backwards booking. I mean, that was pretty much the first nail in the coffin. And when he started talking about everything about possibly turning Nakamura heel and all that, that kind of swayed my opinion more to Malcolm.
Malcolm, he had some good points. Just she wasn't so soft spoken, so I can hear him a little more clearly. And your argument, Mark, is just with Sami Zayn. That dude sucks. If he was a good face, they would have kept him face. That dude's a straight mid-card jobber. They're trying to capture the Daniel Bryan with him coming out dancing and trying to get the crowd behind him. But he should just be an NXT bum or go back to ROH. That guy, he sucks as a face. He's not going to make it in WWE. That's why he doesn't have any titles. I give it to Malcolm.
All right.
I take so much offense with that.
So, yeah, so the debate went 2-1 in favor of Malcolm. So Malcolm wins round number 2 with gender, which I'll be honest, I was kind of surprised by that. I was going to be interested to see what Malcolm brought to the table, but he actually brought a pretty good argument to that. So, so right now we're tied at 1-1. We go to round 3. And
let me just say one. After watching Tuesday SmackDown, and Sami Zayn's killing it as a heel. He's probably like one of the best heels on the roster right now. Just want to say that out there. So I knew, I was like, oh crap.
Well, at least you admitted it. All right, so we go to round 3. So we went from one side of the spectrum, what current heel would be better off as a babyface. Now we got to go to the other side of the spectrum. There are some baby faces out there that we don't give 2 shits about for a very, 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 very long time. So we want to ask our 2 comrades, what current baby face would be better off as a heel? I wonder what 2 picks will be chosen. Do you know who they might be? So let's start with Malcolm. 2 people have you chosen?
I have chosen John Cena. Because I mean, like every time he comes up, he's sort of divided in the crowd. Like there's always going to be half that like him, half that don't. I mean, when you watch his matches, like the chance goes like let's go Cena, you suck, because like it's just a constant back and forth like that.
All right, so Malcolm went with one of the 2. Is Mark going to go with the other of the 2? I think quietly to myself.
No, I'm sorry. I did not choose Shane McMahon, but I chose suffering succotash Roman Reigns. Let's just go with, for extreme quick example, a recent. When John Cena and Roman Reigns fought, whose side was the crowd on? 100% John Cena. They booed the crap out of Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is without a doubt probably one of the most hated guys on the roster right now. He's with the Shield. The Shield gets cheers when he speaks, or if he's referred to, he's getting a little bit of cheers, but most of the time he's getting boos. This is a guy, and his attitude is like, it's no, oh, like I don't care, like pretty much like the guy who doesn't give a shit. This guy always looks like he's pissed off. This guy is better off as a heel right now. And still, the crowd already wants to boo the crap out of him. John Cena, let's just say it comes down to longevity makes you popular. John Cena has had the longevity, and for the most part now, even his detractors are on his side now for the most part. John Cena needs to stay a babyface, and I've got a lot of reasons why.
And we'll hear those reasons why coming up shortly. But Malcolm, you will lead off in this debate. Why is John Cena more worthy of being a heel over Roman Reigns? I can't wait to hear this.
Well, I mean, like, my favourite promos of John Cena has actually been, like, back in the day when he was back doing his old rapping stick, which was, I think, but that was before he became popular. And I'm pretty sure he was considered heel at that stage. Then he sort of changed up his gimmick again, and like then this was the start of his face. I mean, like, John Cena is probably near the end of his career because I mean he's had lots of injuries, and I mean, like, Roman Reigns, like, he's good. I mean, like, I mean, I've, like, with Roman Reigns' promos he's said in that, I've always considered him a heel personally. So I mean, like, he's pretty much always been a heel to me.
So John Cena's always been a heel to you. There was a time, granted, like 10 years ago, you should have turned John Cena heel. Yes. But we're not talking 10 years ago. We're not talking about 5 years ago. We're talking about 2017. And in 2017, you could go back 3 years ago too. John Cena was still getting the boos, but it started going over. He started getting the cheers. He started winning a lot of people over for longevity. Roman Reigns. There was a time after as soon as the Shield broke up, there was about a year. It took about a year for everyone to start really hating on Roman Reigns, especially with him getting shoved down our throats. I believe it was 2 years ago. There was the vacant WWE title tournament where he won. He kind of got a bye. It was basically with the 3 members of the Shield in the finals, and that was the perfect time to turn him heel and do what his nephew or his uncle, The Rock did in 1998. He was slowly starting to become a babyface after being a heel in the nation. And what he did, he out of nowhere turned on the fans and joined the corporation and became the corporate champion. That started him off on a nice heel run for a couple months. And once he left the corporation, he started becoming one of the second most over babyface in the history of the wrestling business, next to Austin. But then, so turning him heel extremely helped him win him over with their fans, because at the time, you're hearing "Die Rocky Die" chants and all that from the crowd. Here, WWE just keeps forcing him down our throats as a babyface, and all that's doing is making us hate him more and more and more.
Well, I mean, one of the main reasons that I think they one of the main reasons that Roman Reigns are pretty hated, in my opinion, was when he defeated the Undertaker at WrestleMania this year. And I mean, that, like, with his promos after that, that sort of cemented the fans to really start hating him. But I mean, like, I can see your point. I mean, like John Cena's one, which I'd like to see him get one last heel run before he ultimately has to retire. For good.
Jeremy, how much time do I have left?
You have 46 seconds.
Okay.
But hold on. Warren, we make sure that you have your mic muted when they were talking, because there was some feedback when they were talking.
Oh no, I thought it was. It's all the way muted on my screen. So. Okay. For my 46 seconds. Okay. Roman Reigns, after he started getting a little bit of respect actually after that promo after WrestleMania when he defeated Undertaker. That's definitely not when fans started turning on him. That was years ago. And also with John Cena, reasons why John Cena won't turn heel, and you can't turn heel, even though he's part-timer. His merchandise, without a doubt, he's the highest grossing merchandise. He makes the most money for the WWE. Ticket sales go downhill when he's not around. When he's on the card, they go up. And like I've said, longevity. He's definitely starting to win the crowds over, and the crowds are starting to respect him for his longevity and all that. And Roman Reigns is just hateable.
All right, it's time for Mark. Malcolm, you got 1 minute on the dot, so you got 1 minute. Say your case.
Yeah, I mean, John Cena is probably the highest grossing merchandise seller on the docket, and it's not going to change. I mean, it's one of those ones that, you're still going to get people who probably still buy his merchandise if he turns heel. Roman Reigns, he seems to be sort of floundering. He's one of those faces which doesn't really know if he's a face or a heel himself. And I mean, it's like there's his promos and that's still been pretty much close to on the heelish side. But he keeps saying that I'm the big dog here. And I mean, one of his best promos I've seen from Roman was his promos that he did against John Cena, and
that's time. All right. So right, we got Roman Reigns and John Cena in a 1 minute free for all match that they had at No Mercy. All right, so 1 minute. State your case. Time starts when the first person starts talking.
Okay, I'll start talking, I guess. Okay, with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, as you've stated multiple times, he doesn't know whether he's a babyface or heel. So why not let's just make him a heel, a full-on heel. Give the crowd a reason to hate him. Like I've said, in 2017, the crowd really likes John Cena. Sure, his matches are. Then again, he had a great match with John Cena or AJ at the Royal Rumble, and the crowd has a lot of respect for John Cena nowadays. If you turn him heel, and you try to take away his merchandise numbers, it's a big difference between number 1 and number 2. I can't even tell you who number 2 is. It's a Grand Canyon of a difference. That's a lot of lost money right there. Go, Malcolm?
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, Roman Reigns, like, they do need to define him one or the other. I mean, like, I think now that he's back with the Shield, that it would mean that they would have to temporarily back for Shield anyway. Like,
It's time.
it might be time.
So we'll start with me. I will keep alternating, and then round 4 we'll go back to Haven. They'll start out. That's the first opinion. So as far as my opinion, to Mark, I mean, Malcolm did get some good points in there, but the main point that I think Mark came out with was the fact that it's 2017 and John's I think he's 40 right now, and so if he turns heel now, what's the point? He pretty much would be a heel for 1 or 2 matches a year, whereas Roman Reigns, I mean, he's always there and he's completely hated, and it doesn't matter what. I mean, there was a stint a couple years ago. I think he had a slight feud with the Big Show, and I think he got cheers for like a week and a half, and that was probably the extent of cheers that he had pretty much during his entire face run. So it seems pretty clear that it's just not going to work, and the fans are not going to embrace it. So the fact that Mark got all those facts in, I think he pretty much countered a lot of cases against John Cena with the merchandise and all that. I mean, I got to give the edge to Mark here. I mean, Malcolm did get some good points in, but to me, it just wasn't quite enough to turn the edge with Roman Reigns. So my picks with Mark. Let's go to Haven. Let's see what he's got.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Jeremy. I think Mark won that because 2017, John Cena is not going to be wrestling that much longer. So why would he even be heel right now? That time came and went for him to be heel. Right now, Vince McMahon was always too scared to pull the trigger. And in 2017, he's doing more movies than wrestling. So it wouldn't even matter if he turned. Like, he's not even there that much.
All right, so that was a unanimous decision sweep there in favor of Mark with Roman Reigns. That gives Mark the lead again. It's now 2-1. But now we go to the 4th question, and this is the one I've been looking forward to, because this was the one that kind of sparked the debate and sparked the concept of this idea. So obviously, the TLC pay-per-view was last Sunday. There were some good matches. There were some bad matches, Enzo. There were some overachieving matches, but we want to ask both guys, what was the most disappointing match of the TLC pay-per-view? There were some out there, but let's start with Mark. So, Mark, what was the most disappointing match of the TLC pay-per-view?
Let's keep the record straight on this. We're talking about most disappointing match. Not only did this match go on first, it was your stereotypical WWE booked debut match. And it was booked absolutely garbage. Asuka versus Emma. Not only did it go on, I can understand it going on first, but not booked the way that it, and put together the match the way that it was. The match went too long. Emma dominated most of the match. And the point of the match was to get Asuka over as a monster babyface. I don't care who you are after watching that and watching her get dominated by Emma for like 7 minutes. I do not consider Asuka a monster or someone to be feared.
All right. I'm not going to lie, that was kind of the choice that I was leaning towards, but I have to put my unbiased opinion out on this. So, Malcolm, give us something good. What was the most disappointing match of the TLC pay-per-view?
I admit I was leaning towards that match myself, but then I thought, well, no, Mark's probably going to say it. So the match I picked is probably going to be is Elias versus Jason Jordan. This is a match that that you knew was going to come from the first Elias song, and it literally had no build leading up to the pay-per-view. It was just there as a bathroom break match before the main event. It was just, but I mean, like they could have done more than had Jason Jordan get really over, but it was like it just did nothing for either of the wrestlers. So I picked it.
All right. So we got Elias versus Jason Jordan. At least I think that's how you pronounce his name, Elias. Is it right, Elias?
Elias or Jason Angle.
It shows you how much I care about that guy. So we got that guy and Jason Jordan versus Asuka and Emma. These are pretty much the two matches I thought were going to be on here. But let's see what you guys bring to the table. Let's start with Mark, and your 3 minutes will start when you start talking. Talk some trash about your match.
Before the match begins, let me paint a little bit of a picture for you. Asuka, complete. Let's just assume that people have watched NXT. Asuka, undefeated for like a year and a half with the women's champion. She had to retire from NXT as the undefeated women's champion. Dominant, killed everyone she came across. Okay, starting after SummerSlam, she gets moved up to Raw. They announce her on Raw. They start showing videos of her as a killer, as a monster, someone you have to fear. So going into the match with Emma, also let me build up Emma, someone who's rarely ever on TV. She somehow won. She probably got a lucky victory and won a match against Asuka at the pay-per-view. Not only she went into that match completely, you weren't afraid of her. Now match time. She dominated Asuka for most of the match. All the big spots in the match was from her towards Asuka. Asuka was fighting from her back, and also like the match went on way too long. Like the way the match should have been booked, Emma talks a little shit to Asuka. Asuka just kicks her in the head and pins her and walks out 5 seconds later. There's someone you gotta fear. There's someone you gotta take seriously. And also, let's not forget the current booking that they're working with Asuka. The next night, they did a rematch. It was a little shorter, but also Emma dominated that match too. But what happened at the end of the match? The crowd started not to really care. The crowd noise went down. Asuka is getting less and less over with this booking, especially because of her debut. And so that comes down to my most disappointing match. Yeah, Elias Jordan. In all honesty, I didn't expect anything of that match. It was an okay wrestled match. Other than that, was I really disappointed in what I got? No. Was I disappointed with Asuka Emma? Big time. Haven's phone died, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can see where you're going with. I mean, with the Asuka Emma, but I mean, like there was like, I mean, I myself, but I mean, like I agree with a lot of your points on it, but the Elias Jason Jordan, like, it just like they could have had it as a match from after the first Elias singing promo rather than just doing the whole stupid comedy skit like throughout the pay-per-view. They could have just had it as a match and done with, and like it would have been nice to have some form of build up that there's a chance it could have happened before one of the Raws beforehand.
When it comes to Elias and Jason Jordan, you kind of knew what you were getting when that first song happened earlier in the night. but there was no build. There was never any reason to get excited for it. There's no reason. Was I disappointed in that match? No, I got what I expected. Was I disappointed with Asuka Emma? I was excited to see her come out, kill someone, and she didn't.
Malcolm, you've got 1 minute and 41 seconds left.
Shit.
I can't defend.
Yeah, I can't defend anything. Nothing much more I can say.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's life going for you then? You used that
So
minute and a half
Malcolm's
for
taking
life.
his ball and going home with a minute and a half left.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a damn shame.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Malcolm's taking his minute and 25 seconds and going home with it. So let's see if he can come back with this 1 minute that remains. So let's get started. Maybe if Malcolm can get the first shot in this free-for-all, maybe he can take up as much time as he can in this free-for-all. So first person that speaks, time will start.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Asuka versus Emma is like, it was a match of like, I mean, like, yeah, I didn't think Asuka needed to dominate it. Like, I mean, I get it was a debut and she still came out with the win in the end. But I mean, Emma is another.
Asuka needed to dominate. The hype for her, produced by WWE, was she was pretty much the next Goldberg. Even her dying days in NXT, she was hyped up as the next Goldberg. Goldberg streak. She runs through people like Goldberg. She needed to dominate that match because they hyped it up like she was the female version of Goldberg. So she did need to dominate that match.
Yeah, I mean, and like the thing with Elias and Jason, like ever since that time.
Well, that was well, I think I pretty much had a winner there from the start. It didn't help that Malcolm kind of lost his way halfway through his argument. I was waiting for you to say that Jason Jordan was a really good wrestler, so you expected a lot more out of that match, regardless of the lack of build and all that. Whereas Emma, we've never looked at Emma as being a great wrestler, and Asuka, has her moments, but you can't really tell if she's, or that we think, just because her matches are usually as short as it is. But yeah, unfortunately, you kind of lost your way there halfway through, and yeah, Mark's argument of the fact that the match went way too long with Asuka and Emma, especially considering Emma's like the sixth top diva on the Raw roster. It didn't help matters at all. And then the fact they did the exact same match on Raw didn't help matters either. So yeah, I have to go with Mark on that. Unfortunately, Haven, typical NWO style, walked out mid-match. So I guess we're gonna go to Warren.
I definitely. Here's the thing, though. It's not that Emma and worst match. Obviously, Jason Jordan had the worst match of the pay-per-view. But I do agree with Mark's argument in the fact that it went way too long and it didn't make Asuka look as dominant as she did in NXT. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does.
I think there were some cases that Malcolm could have made that he just wasn't able to get out there. So unfortunately, I have to go with Mark. I'm going to give the point to Mark here with Asuka and Emma being the most disappointing match of the pay-per-view. So that gives Mark a 3-1 lead going into the speed round questions. So again, remember, Malcolm, you got plenty of time to make up ground. It's the first to 5. So plenty of time to make up ground. So basically what it is, we've got a total of 5 speed round questions. We'll go through as many as we need until the first person gets to 5. Neither of you knows either one of these questions, so you just have to think on the fly what the best answer is. Some of these might be, straightforward questions, or they might be a little bit broader questions. But as soon as I ask the question, give whatever you think the correct answer is, and then how the argument will go. The first person that speaks will get 20 seconds to make their case, and then their opponent will get the same amount of time, and then we'll have another 20-second rebuttal. So it's 20 seconds, 20 seconds. All right, so let's go to the speed round now. It's currently 3-1 in favor of Mark. It's going to be the first to 5. So Malcolm, you have plenty of time to catch back up. All these speed round questions, neither of you knows what the question is until you hear it. So whenever you have what you think the correct answer is, just say the first thing that you have that comes up. So your first speed round question: whose WrestleMania resume would you rather have, The Undertaker's or Shawn Michaels?
I'd go with Undertaker.
All right. That means Mark will be arguing on behalf of The Undertaker. Malcolm, you're going to argue on behalf of the Heartbreak Kid. Mark, you're 20. Remember, it's 20 seconds. 20 seconds, and then an additional 20 seconds to rebuttal. So, Mark, your 20 seconds will begin when you start talking.
The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. It's the WrestleMania streak. It's been one of the most important things in the wrestling business in the last 25, 30 years. Well, 25 years, whenever this got going. And also, you can get called back to wrestle one match a year and for a big payday and let your body rest. Especially at your age, that's awesome.
Time. All right. Malcolm, you now have 20 seconds. Make your case.
Yeah, well, Undertaker's streak is legendary. But I mean, Shawn Michaels has his streak is he's always come to WrestleMania. He's always brought the show. I mean, yeah, he's not in a wrestling capacity anymore. But I mean, his streak, he always still brought the show every time he wrestled.
Time.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Mark, you've got another 20 seconds.
Okay.
Rebuttal.
Yes, Shawn Michaels has had some great WrestleMania matches, without a doubt. There's a reason why he's called Mr. WrestleMania. But Undertaker in the last, since pretty much, for the most part, since 2001, when he first had his first match with Triple H, he's also had great matches with Shawn Michaels, with Triple H, CM Punk, Edge.
Time. All right, 20 seconds to rebuttal from Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean, Undertaker has had great matches. I'm not saying he has. So I mean, the Undertaker's streak is it's been broken. It was broken by Brock Lesnar, and that kind of stopped it. But Shawn Michaels, his streak is
Time. All right, so you both, I pretty much had an idea of what arguments were going to come to the table. Obviously, Mark brought up the streak. Malcolm brought up quality of matches, which obviously is the reason why you could make a case for either one. I think Mark kind of hurt his argument a little bit when he talked about that his greatest matches were with Shawn Michaels. And then, of course, you have the idea that Shawn Michaels had matches with The Undertaker and then a bunch of other great matches. I mean, you could say his matches were okay at worst, whereas Undertaker had a lot of shit matches, back in the early 90s. I mean, you want to go back and rewatch Giant Gonzalez or King Kong Bundy? I don't think so. So it was really close. I mean, Mark, he focused pretty much on the streak, but as soon as Malcolm said, "But the streak's over," so you pretty much don't have that anymore. I got to give the argument there to Mark, or to Malcolm. Excuse me, misspoke there. I mean, Mark, he made a good case, but I think Malcolm, with the quality of match, I think was the bullet point there. So it's 3-2 now. Mark's still in the lead, but now we go to question number 2. Oh, I can't wait to hear this one. This is a doozy. All right, the question is, guys, if you were forced to rewatch an entire year of Vince Russo produced wrestling, which year would you rather watch? 2000 WCW or 2007 TNA?
Without a doubt, I would have to go with 2000 WCW.
I'm choking just over the sight of 2000 WCW. So this is going to be interesting. Mark Boric trying to defend 2000 WCW. Mark, why would you rather watch a continuous year of 2000 WCW?
Let's just say, I actually, for the most part, I've gone back and rewatched a lot of 2000 WCW just because I get entertained and I can start asking, what, why, and I just find it in hindsight fun to watch and how chaotic it is. 2007 TNA, just boring and just confusing, really confusing.
Time. All right. Well, that was an interesting argument of what made me want to watch 2000 WCW. I don't know if I entirely agree with it, but
20 seconds.
it's his case. So. All right, 20 seconds, Malcolm. Let's hear what's so great about 2007 TNA.
This is where I pretend I know stuff. I mean, I'd probably watch TNA because I've never once watched TNA, so I don't know what it's like. And I mean, much rather watch it than WCW because like I've watched bits and pieces of it, and it's just not good. And TNA is slightly better.
Time.
I get
Both these answers are just making me gag.
Hey.
Yep, you get another 20 seconds.
Okay. Yes. Oh, no, don't get me wrong. I kind of like going back and watching WCW 2000. Right now, I'm also on the podcast. Like, I'm rewatching 2000 WCW with guys from Keeping It 100 or 2000, I guess, with their podcast, going back and watching all of the nitros from there. But also, 2007 TNA is just flat out boring, and you see all matches repeated, like all the same matches. You'll get variety, and you'll get a lot of entertaining matches that are fun to watch.
All right, Malcolm, 20 seconds. Do your worst.
Yeah, I mean, like, even though the TNA matches are boring at best, but I mean, they can be fun to watch as well, just for the entertainment sake of knowing how bad they are. Like the stuff I've seen of the WCW at that era is like it's a bit slightly worse.
Time. To quote the guy from Rocky IV, throw the damn towel.
I like 2000 WCW. What can I say?
I mean, I thought Malcolm had an interesting case when he said it. Me hadn't ever watched TNA, so it'd be interesting to watch just to see how crummy it is. But yeah, Mark just had two there shooting down everything that was bad with Vince Russo and 2017. God, that was just the worst. It was just terrible era of wrestling. So yeah, I got to give that point to Mark with 2000 WCW.
Yeah, I'm not
I
surprised.
actually forgot a lot of what happened in 2000 WCW.
I remember a
Yeah.
lot.
All right, so it's 4-2. It's game point. If Mark gets another point, he will win the match. So, Malcolm, you pretty much have to run the table here, but it can be done. So here's a little bit more of a broader question. Your question is, who is the best wrestler whose name begins with the letter D?
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan for Malcolm. Gives Mark a thinker.
I'd have to go with Dave Bautista.
Oh! This is going to be fun. I mean, I'm shocked there was no Dory Funk Jr. or DDP, not even a Dean Ambrose.
Oh, hell no. No. I'd walk out.
All right. So we got Daniel Bryan versus Dave Bautista. Malcolm, why is Daniel Bryan a better wrestler than Dave Bautista?
Well, he's a better wrestler than Dave Bautista. He always has interesting matches, in all his matchups. He's shown that he's really why he's a good technical wrestler. And he quite often gets the win quite a bit. So.
Time. So, interesting first argument for Daniel Bryan. Mark, you got kind of an uphill battle here with Dave Bautista. Why is Dave Bautista possibly a better wrestler than Daniel Bryan?
Okay, here we go. Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is probably one of the best wrestlers out there right now. And it's a shame that he can't be wrestling right now. But in 1 year, when he leaves WWE and his contract's over, he'll be killing it in New Japan or the other indies, and he'll be having a hell of a time, put on great matches. Daniel Bryan, in his past, awesome wrestler. And no, I can't say anything bad about Daniel Bryan.
Time. That was a great argument for Dave Bautista as the best wrestler, Mark.
I can't do. I got nothing.
You want to just throw in the towel now and just concede the point?
Yes, I do. But I wanted to have a good first part.
Here, I'll do the honors for you. I'll throw in the damn towel for you. So I was wondering where that argument was going, and I was like, wait a minute, he's not even trying to defend Dave Bautista.
When it comes to, I got nothing. When it comes to Batista and Daniel Bryan, I got nothing. I like Batista, and I like his work in the ring, but it's just Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's one of my faves.
Oh, lordy. So with that point conceded, it is now 4-3. Still in favor of Mark. I guess he realizes he's got 3 points to work with. He'll just give one up there and try his luck with the next one. So let's move on to the next question. We've talked about this guy earlier in the show, but now we have to ask, what is The Rock's worst pay-per-view match? You're thinking.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah, Kiss My Ass match, SummerSlam 99 against Billy Gunn.
Ooh, that's a bad one. But see if Malcolm can top it. You got any trash out there on The Rock? Does he have a bad match that he remembers?
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to win with this, but I mean, and it's not necessarily a bad match, but I mean, it's one of the matches I've seen that I didn't like is his first one against John Cena.
At that Mania.
All right, that's WrestleMania 28,
Yeah,
I
his
believe.
very quick on
That's it.
yeah.
That's interesting. I would have actually went with the second match that they had personally, if you were going to go with worst Rock match. But yeah, so we got Rock Cena 1 versus Kiss My Ass match. Mark, lead the way whenever you're ready.
The name says itself, Kiss My Ass match. It was also, they were trying to promote Billy Gunn. They were trying to push Billy Gunn as a top guy after him winning the 99 King ring. Let's just go with this match. Included the hidden guest who was under a carpet. This large woman with rip holes in her pantyhose around the panty line, and it involved kissing that ass.
Time. In homage of Kiss My Ass, he got a real stinker argument in there early on. So let's go to Malcolm. Rock Cena 1. Why is that the worst Rock pay-per-view match?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably going to be a downhill bit for me, but all the Rock matches I've watched, I like, but the reason I didn't like the first one is because it was just the first match that The Rock has done in ages, and like you could tell that he was still pretty rusty in the ring, and it really showed. It's quite obvious.
Time. All right, Mark, you got 20 seconds. Rebut.
When it comes to Rock Cena, that match wasn't. Yes, he hasn't wrestled in a good while before that one, but that wasn't the worst Rock Cena WrestleMania match. The worst one was the one that came a year after, and like that match was just. The first match was actually pretty good. The second one, not so much, and also the Kiss My Ass match. Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn is no one cares.
Time. All right, this could be your last 20 seconds, Malcolm. Make them count.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Gunn, he hasn't really quite liked. I mean, I found that actually being quite entertaining. I mean, while in wrestling ways, it wasn't the best wrestled, but I mean, it's still, I thought it's good entertainment wise. And I mean, like the first
Time. So, yeah, I just realized I said rebut about Kiss My Ass. I'm such a pun idiot. So, yeah, I mean, Mark got a lot out there when it came to a Rock match, and it's just a stupid gimmick, and they just try to bunch it. I mean, it literally smelled of more Vince Russo, even though I don't even think he was in the company at that point.
He left in October.
Yeah, oh, so he was. Lovely. Well, you didn't even get that out there. That would probably been another thing that could have, another bullet point that you could have got there. Malcolm did get some points in about, the match was boring and, Rock was really rusty, but Mark really did get the argument in is that it was still the best Rock Cena WrestleMania match that we had. I think the second one was far more boring. It was just a complete finisher fest with the last 15 minutes of that match. So, yeah, I think Malcolm had an uphill battle there from the start, and he tried his best, but ultimately I have to go with the Kiss My Ass match and Mr. Ass The Rock as the worst pay-per-view match. So I think that's going to pretty much wrap this up. Your winner of this match, the very first All-Star Wrestling Debaters match, is Canada's own Mark Boric, doing Canada proud for all the maple syrup, hockey, and all the beer. Got good whiskey too, I gotta say. I think my dad would vouch for that too.
Wrestling's a big part of Canada.
So, Mark, you got your first win. You have won the series premiere of hopefully several more wrestling debating shows. another credit to your long list of accomplishments. So, but you're still not the champ. Still not the champ.
Soon enough.
So
Gotta get through the Omega or Evolution or whatever his split personality's taking over today. Get through that guy. Then I get my #1 contender match, and I will get my belt back.
And I don't know if I should even say this right up now, but I think for a match like yourself against Alex, I think that it's time for a certain type of championship caliber questions to be asked again. So if anybody out there is interested in a certain question maker making the questions, JTH is right here available to make those questions for that Alex Ward and Mark Boric match. I'm always available to make questions. But I guess that'll be up for them to decide that. But yeah, enough talking about me. It's time to talk about the contestants, because that's the important thing. Malcolm, you had the home field disadvantage here. Mark definitely had seemed clear from the start. He had a little bit more of the wrestling knowledge that he kind of used against you there.
Yeah.
How much do you think that played a factor into the outcome of this?
Oh, I mean, a lot of it did. Like, saw his options for the third and fourth. Things like I instantly thought, well, I don't know how I'm going to counter them at all because it's just like John Cena versus Roman Reigns is like, it is clear that Roman Reigns is most hated in these full time. So I mean, but yeah, I knew it was going to be one of those ones which it's just going to be interesting to see if I could get in. Like, I mean, I was surprised that I actually won the argument with so.
Yeah, well, you had an uphill battle. I'll admit that, but you know, I'll give you a round of applause for stepping up to the plate against a very worthy adversary who definitely knows his wrestling knowledge and definitely knows how to debate that knowledge. So I'll give you definitely 2 thumbs up. You stepped up to the plate. You were a very worthy foe. Definitely shot down a lot of Mark's arguments too. There was a couple that he had absolutely no counter for. He didn't even try to make an argument against Daniel Bryan. I mean,
How can he?
I thought he was going to come up with something. I mean, anything.
Nothing that would have been good against Daniel Bryan. I had ideas, but then just like using them against Daniel Bryan is not.
You could have said he could have beat Daniel Bryan in a match. I mean, that could have proved he was a better wrestler.
That didn't happen though, did it?
But yeah, I guess even at WrestleMania 30, he didn't do that. So
Yeah.
I guess you couldn't even say that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun. So I hope everybody enjoyed this first edition of the All-Star Wrestling Debaters. Hope we can do many more of these. If anybody is interested out there of debating against the best of the best, feel free to join in. We're open to any additional competitors to join in. But until next time, hopefully next time, that's up for you all to decide. Until next time, this is JTH, along with Mark Borch and Malcolm the Crusher Lay, saying until next time, thank you for watching. And we all bid you adieu, adieu.